Okay, guys, the object of this is for you to draw a picture using the menus on the nspire. So this is a geometry page. So the menu that you have here allows you to do several things. I want to start with, you're not going to be able to use all these menu items. Let me start with number 4, the points and lines. So putting a point, you just click anywhere you want. And you can do more than one point if you want. Whenever you're done plotting points, this little box up here tells you that you're in an active menu. You want to press escape and it'll stop that menu. You can grab any point. So remember, on your nspire, you would do the control button and then the center of the touchpad. So that would be a click. I'm going to escape there because on the computer it looks different, but you would grab a point and you can just move it anywhere you want. Okay. If you want to, if you change your mind and you don't want it, you can put your cursor on a point. And I want to remind you that there is a right click, and that would be to do a, just a control menu is a right click. So if you did control menu, you would get a separate menu here. And notice there is a hide and there's a delete. And the difference is delete, it's completely gone. Hide, we'll talk about that in a minute. If you have points, whenever you build things, they have points on them and you want to get rid of just the points, you hide them. But I'm going to delete one of these. Again, if I go to my right click, so that's control menu, there is an attributes. There's attributes and then there's color down here, but attributes is the shape of it. And this 1/13 means we're on shape number 1, and there's 13 different options. So shape number 1 is just a circle, a small circle. Number 2 is a small empty circle. Number 3 is a square. 4 is an empty square. 5 is a cross. 6 is a plus sign. 7 is a tiny little dot. 8 is a larger dot, an open larger dot, even a larger dot, an open larger dot, a gigantic dot, and an open gigantic dot. So you can choose your the way a point looks anytime you want. I'm going to go back to just the original. And then you just click off of it and it saves whatever you chose. You can also go into color, and because a point is considered part of a line, if you can fill an object, fill would be highlighted, but we can just choose line and then you just choose your color. So I want a red one here. And if I go over here and right click on this one, I can change this color to green. I can go back to the attributes. Oops. I can go back to the attributes and change it to a real big open green one. Now, if you really want a circle bigger than that, then there's actually a draw circle menu, but I'll come to that in a minute. So again, in our menu, if we go back to points and lines, point on is if you actually want to point on an object and it sticks to the object. There's a line, a segment, array, those three. So the difference between a line and a segment starts and stops at 2 different points. So if I wanted to draw a segment from this point to this point, it starts and stops. If I want to draw a line, however, goes past it. So if I start here, see how it automatically goes past the point. And if I stop here, a line goes past the points. You can always hide an object. So I'm going to escape out of that menu. You can hide an object by doing a right click. So again, that's a put your cursor on the object and see how the label shows up when it kind of tells you what you're pointing at. I'm going to do a right click. That's a control menu, and right click on it. And I want to hide that line. And there's that segment that I drew first. Now let's see what else we can draw in points and lines. Array starts at one point and has an arrow at the other end. So if you want an arrow at the end of something, you would need to use a ray to draw it. I'm sorry, it just goes through a point. A vector is the one that has the arrow on the end of it. A circle arc is part of a circle, and it takes 3 points to draw an arc. So, and you can change where the points are, but let's say there's my first point, there's my middle point, and then my third point. And I'm going to press escape to change, see this little box, I'm going to press escape. And now to move or reshape the arc, if I grab the middle point, so that's a control, and then click that center button on the touchpad. If I move the center point, you can see it changes the shape of the arc. If I grab one of the end points, I can change the length of the arc. I can kind of change the shape of it that way. And remember when I talked about points on objects, what if I wanted this to look like a smiley face? And we put it here like this, but I didn't want this point right here. I can right click on it and hide just that point. And now it's no longer, but since I hid that point, I can no longer grab that point and change the shape of it. To unhide something, if you go to menu, number 1, actions, there is an option that says hide show. So when you click this, anything that you have hidden will show up gray. And if you want to unhide it, you click on it and it turns it bold. If you want to hide something, you can click on it. So the arc is now going to be hidden, but anything bold is going to show up. So when I press escape, anything grayed out will hide, anything bolded will stay there. So if I want to change that again, I can go into menu, actions, hide show, and you can click on anything that's grayed out and bold it so it'll show up again. You can click on anything you want to hide, and when you press escape, anything that is currently hidden, anything that's currently grayed out will then be hidden. So that's how you can hide things besides deleting them. Let's see, if I go into menu, I think that's all in points and lines. In shapes, so circle is the top one. A circle starts at a center point, so you can use a point you already have, or you can make a point of your own. But as soon as you click where you want the center of the circle, and then move your mouse, it's going to start drawing that circle. Now you can change how big it is after you put it on the page. So say this is how big I want it to be right now. I'm going to click here. You can press the enter button or the center of the click pad and click. And I'm going to press escape to quit drawing circles. So I can grab the center of the circle and move it anywhere I want it. I can grab the outside of the circle. So remember, grabbing is control and the center of the click pad. To let go, you press escape. I can grab the outer side of the circle and I can reshape it. I can do a right click when my mouse is pointing and it says circle. I can do a right click, so that's control menu. And this time when I go into color, I've got both line color and fill color because it's a solid object. So let's fill it in with pink. Now, this little happy face looking thing, we did not draw it as a solid. Remember, it's an arc and a deal, so we can't fill that in. The only way you can fill things in is if you draw them using the shapes tool. So you have to draw something using the shapes tool. The polygon tool is a great way of really designing an object exactly the way you want it. So remember, a polygon has to start and stop at the same place. So let's say I want to do the letter A, like a kind of I don't know what you call a block letter A. Now that it's all solid, I can fill it in. I'm going to press escape. And then I can come back and move my mouse to where that word, see the difference between point and when I move it, it says polygon. Whatever your cursor is pointing at is exactly what's going to happen. So if that says point and I do a right click, I can only change the color of the point. If I want to fill the object in, I have to make sure it says polygon. So when I right click on polygon, I can fill it in, And remember, if you want to get rid of all of those points, you can do it one at a time by right-clicking on each one and clicking hide, but that's the hard way of doing it. If you're going to hide several things at one time, you want to use your menu. Number 1 is actions. Number 3 is hide show. And remember, you can click on anything that you want to hide. So I'm clicking on each of these points. And then when I press escape, all of the points will be hidden. You can put a text box on the page if you right click anywhere on the page, so that, again, that's control menu anywhere on the page. Notice that you have an option to put a text box. You cannot change the way the text looks. Accidentally bumped my dog. I'm sorry about that. You can type in the text box. You can use capital letters, but it's kind of italicized font. And it's only one line. So if you want more than one line, you have to click out of that text box and you have to start a new text box. And click out of it. Now, you can grab it and move it, and you can put it anywhere you want, but you cannot change the size of the font. You can right-click on it and go to conditions. Now this is very different because it is font. It's not a line where you can change the color of the line or change the color of the point. But you can go to conditions, and here it says line color and fill color, so you can change the line color here. It's a little bit tricky. Here's where you find your colors. So if I want my font, for instance, to be green, this is just telling me I need the number 4. So I'm going to click OK. And in the line color, and this is just for text only, line color, I'm going to put the number 4 and press OK. And my font turned green. So I'm going to come up here and do it again. On text, I'm going to right click. So that's a control menu. I'm going to go to conditions. I'm going to look at my color choices. This time I want it to be this bright pink, number 6. You can do gray. I mean, why would you want to do it black? It's already black, but you can do it white. If you were going to put it on top of a blue box or something like that and you want your font to look white, you can do that. But I'm going to put, where I'll show you, I will change it to white. So number 10. Wait, before I do that, let me move it. I'm going to put it right here on top of this pink. And you have to think of things in the order that you printed them on the screen. Because I printed the text after I did the pink circle, the text is on top of the circle. So I'm going to right click on the text, go to conditions. I remember white was 10, so I'm going to type 10 and click OK. And there's my white font on top of the pink circle. It doesn't look great, but there it is. So you kind of have to decide that. Now remember, if you do something and you don't like it, to back up or to undo a mistake, you do Control Z and it will undo what you just did. So I'm going to do Control Z and it turned it back to black font. I'm going to do Control Z again and it's going to move it back to the top. I'm going to do Control Z again and it's going to change my green font back to black because that's the order that I did things in. Let me see if there's any other menu options. You can investigate different menu options, but these are the key things that you're going to be using. So have fun, make your designs the way you want them to be. If there's anything that you want to try to do, you can come and ask me and I'll see if I can show you how to do it. But have fun. You've got today and tomorrow. If we're in school Thursday and Friday, which we should be, but you have today and tomorrow to do this art project. Have fun.